The bids are in. The gavel was dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, here at WineBid, we are finally hammered. That's right. This is WineBid's podcast, taking all things wine value, wine retail, wine auction, and just wine. With you, as always, I am Jeff McGurn on the WineBid marketing team. Of course, with me here is our wine expert, Paul, the Wizard of Württemberg Walker. That's right. That's what people call him. That's his nickname. I don't know how I got it. There it is.
I don't either, but that's a good one.
And today we're going to be talking about some of the cool, interesting wines from Germany and Italy that have come into auction this week. This is the auction week ending Sunday, May 26th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 2024. So all the stuff we're going to mention, you can go and bid on this week, right? If you're listening to it. Week ending.
Yeah, I did want to add real quick that wines do get added to auction after Sunday night. Most of my picks are actually, essentially all of my picks were live, I think, at some point today. But the point is to check your favorites, your things you're tracking, things you're interested in, after Sunday, because there are new wines added on Monday and Tuesday, sometimes as late as Wednesday. So that's important to note. But everything that we mentioned today, like Jeff said, is available to bid on right now up until Sunday the 26th.
Up until Sunday 26th. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk Italy. Man, a lot of cool Gaja in auction this week. I thought the Gaja Langhe from 97, Gaja Langhe Conteisa was really interesting, but I'm not going to go through every bottle of Gaja, but there's a lot of Gaja all the way from the Camarcanda Margari at 60 to, bottles for, a mag of the Langhe Spers for 630, right?
The full range and vintages too. So 90s and 2000s, but not too recent as far as I know. I only flagged a couple because there was just so much stuff from both Piedmont and Tuscany and other regions in Italy. So
a bunch of Bruno Giacosa from the 90s and into the early 2000s. Like you said, not a lot of stuff that's too recent. Some really cool stuff all over the board.
Yeah, Riserva, like red labels from, 2000, Riserva Barolo, Riserva Barbaresco. So 96. Basically all kind, Magnums is what I wanted to say. It's Mags of 2000, 2001, 2004, just like phenomenal selection there.
Phenomenal selection of Bruno Giacosa. Conterno, like a bunch of Conterno.
Aldo and Giacomo Conterno.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lots of Conterno. And Conterno Fantino,
for that matter, if you want to keep going.
Conterno Fantino.
Name play.
A bunch of cool Vietti coming to auction as well. And I always feel like Vietti they have some stuff that represents a pretty good value for what they deliver. Some large format Vietti, some stuff from the 90s, some of the Vieiro Riserva, the Rocky Mag from 04. Some really, really cool Vietti. And then we've got a bunch of new Paolo Scavino, 21 lots of Paolo Scavino coming into auction. Well, again, all the way at 96, Barolo Brick del Fiasque. Yeah. Like a bunch of those from 96, a bunch of that from 01, 04, like some a mag of it from 04, just some really, really cool stuff from Paolo Scavino. Bartolo Mascarello, 96, Barolo for 325, 97 for 380, 97 mag for 76. 99 for 305. Just again, a bunch of really cool stuff in both regular and large format, running the gambit. Some individual bottles I thought were cool. 17 Produttori de Barbaresco Rio Sordo Riserva for 55. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Like that stuff can go the distance too. 2000 Giuseppe Rinaldi Barolo Brunate-Le for 400. We got 3 of those. And then we've got the 01 Rinaldi Barolo Cannubi San Lorenzo Ravera mag for 730. I didn't think that was too awful, and that's probably going to be amazing. 2010 Roberto Voerzio Barolo Cerequio for 230. Got one of those. 2001, Luciano Sandrone Barolo Cannubi Boschis Mag for 560. There are two of those. 96 Aldo Conterno Barolo Busia Cicala 504 Aldo Conterno Barolo Busia Romirasco Mag OWC for 360. And then then there's this 1999 Clerical Barolo Pagina for 80. We have two of those. 2010 GD Vajra Barolo Brico Dello Violo Mag for 310. I didn't think that was crazy for Vajra Barolo Mag from 2010, right? 310 just didn't strike me as too bad. 2000 La Spinetta Barolo Campe for 220. I think that we have three of those. I think that is the first vintage of their Barolo from what I can tell. 2000 Pio Cesare Barolo for 70. 04 Pio Cesare Barolo Ornato Mag for 180. Actually 190. It's got a bid now. People coming in on this stuff fast. 01 Conterno Fantino Barolo Sori Ginestra for 185, two of those. 01 Massolino Barolo Vigna Rionda Riserva for 80 for 125. There are three. Azalea Barolo San Rocco, two of those for 80, 97.
I miss those Azaleas. Yeah, that's cool. I miss those wines. I must have skipped over them, but
$80, 24 years of age.
Those probably get grabbed up pretty quick.
The funny thing was, I was reading through tasting notes on a lot of stuff, and a lot of it, people even stuff from the 90s, people were it still needs 5 to 10 years.
Oh yeah, they're powerhouse wines.
Powerhouse wines.
Yeah.
97 Soretto Barolo Brico Roji Brunate for 130. We have four of those. A lot of 97 Marchesi Barolo Riserva Grande Annata for 65. An 04 Luigi Pira Barolo Vino Marcana. Yeah, Marneca for 70. Marnica for $70. 99 Elio Altare Barolo Alberina for 160. There are four. The 04 Brunate from Altare is 105. There are three of those. Cascina Adelaide Barolo Cannubi for $50. From 07 or 04 Luigi Unati Barolo Cannubi for 80. Just, I don't know. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. There were just so many really cool Piedmont wines that I had to point out. What did I mean?
No, I think, you touched on obviously a lot of the great producers that are in this week. It is really impressive to see this kind of collection. I was confused for a couple of minutes because I saw, like you just mentioned, the Elio Altare, and there were two listings of the same wine in the same condition. And I was like, well, that's weird, because the way, the auction works, when inspections are done, wines are grouped together by their conditions. And so I noticed there's two lots of 99 Altare Barolo Albarina in the same condition. They're both excellent general condition. And the reason they're in two different lots is because they're two different provenance descriptions. I believe they're two different collections. And so that's why I think also there is such a, wide breadth of wine from Italy in particular this week, and Germany and elsewhere. But anyway, I did want to mention, that those things will come up. People will probably be wondering why, that is the case. But
can I just say that, along those lines, that 2017 Produttori del Barbaresco Rio Sordo Riserva I mentioned, we have one at 55, and then we have six more that are available for 60 if you prefer to pay $5 more for that same right. So it's but to me, that's a point that's always well taken, because I noticed a number of bottles where you get this auction where you get the same thing for less. Mm-hmm. And the difference is it's just a different seller. That somebody, consignor put it in there, and they want it to be $5 higher.
Yeah, they have the option of increasing their reserve prices within reason and within a specific time period. But yeah, it's true. And provenance matters too. It's important to look at what the description is, because they definitely vary. There are wines in this week's auction from, subterranean cellars that are obviously in good shape, but they're not necessarily actively temperature controlled. Obviously they passed inspections, so, they're valid and, we're willing to sell them, but, it does make a difference on occasion. So Anyway, yeah, there's some Capolano wines. It's funny because I was talking about that Pied Franco Michet or Miche, and of course, there's multiple lots of the same wine in this week in Magnum format too, which is quite incredible. There's a very rare late harvest wine, which I thought was interesting. I kind of tried to pick some things that I didn't recognize, as well as things that I thought were actually, reasonable deals, since prices have been getting pushed up for everything that's especially collectible in the world of wine. But there's Cascina Chico, Vina di Uve Stramature Vendemmia Tardiva Arcas, Arcass. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but anyway, that caught my eye, and half bottle of that for $25. I have to check that out and see what it's all about. It is from Piedmont. I do know that. And obviously, you pretty much listed. I thought the Conterno Fantino wines were fairly reasonable. Now, then, as soon as you get into the 2001 and 2004, the prices go way up, but the 99 was 85, was under 100. I thought that was interesting. Same thing with the Elialtare wines. The 01, actually, those wines are actually fairly reasonable for the Normale. They're all under $100, but then the Arborina jumps pretty much double in price for, all the vintages represented. And there's, Fontana Freda, Barolo, Lazzarito caught my eye. That was under $100 for 2001. So these things are they're not mature, let's say, but they do have at least 20 years on them. So you're not going to have to sit on them forever. You can decant them for a few hours and be ready to go. You mentioned the Vira wines, the 2010 Magnum of Brico della Viole. At 310, not that bad. There is a bunch of Monfortino. Of course, the prices there are totally wild, but that's Monfortino. It's always been incredibly expensive. The other favorite wine of mine that's in this week is the Monprivato from Giuseppe Mascarello. And that is represented, 96, 97, 2000, 2001. There's a mag of 01. There's also the Riserva, which is quite rare. The 04, the Cado Mauricio Riserva for 350. And those wines, they've come up quite a bit in price, but they've kind of leveled off. They haven't really just gone the way of Burgundy and there's, exploded 2 years ago where everything else did. I think they all kind of pushed over 200 in certain cases. And then, in the sort of slightly more traditional, or let's just say leaner vintages, they're under $200. So I still think those are they're just amazing, amazing wines. Gianfranco Alessandria, this producer is very, very hip these days. I don't know how the older wines are. They're not actually that expensive compared to what we're talking about. There's 97 Barolo San Giovanni for 85, the 2000s at 50, and the 04 is at 70. So I have a feeling that the later vintages are more collectible. Something has changed in winemaking and or ownership, management, whatever. But anyway, interesting to see older, 20 plus year old Gianfranco Alessandria wines. And there's just an embarrassment of riches from Piedmont and elsewhere in Italy. We should probably move on to other parts of the country. Yeah.
Let's go to Tuscany. We were talking in the recap we did this week about the Maga Massetto that sold. There's a 94 Massetto for 65.
Wait, there's more than one Maga Massetto in this week too, right? Or is it?
Well, there's a case of 15 for 1725 and a case of 16 for 2190. You don't see and they're 3-bottle cases.
3-bottle sets, yeah.
You don't see those that often for Massetto. Usually it's a bottle at a time, right?
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool to see some of those cases. I won't go through it, but there's a bunch of Ornellaia that is in the auction, like a lot of cool Ornellaia. 97 Marchesi Antinori, Brunello Montalcino, Pian del Vin.
Oh, Pian del Vin. Yeah, this is one of the. What's funny? Sorry, I interrupt you again.
No, please.
I had a good time picking a lot of number 1 through number 10 Wine Spectator top 100 wines because there were so many of them in this week. And I think the Pian della Vigne it ranked somewhere in the top 100. I thought for the 97, maybe not, but that seems to ring a bell.
Look, if anyone would know, it was number 7. In
It was number 7. Okay. Top 10 from
top 10, number 7. I knew you would know that. This was a test. This was a test.
It was drilled into my brain when I worked in retail. It's like number 1 wine. You gotta, this is gonna explode.
No. Pause right there, because you're the person who always tells me, hey, Jeff, and by the way, when I say pause, I'm not telling the person editing this. I'm saying you pause right there. You're the person I don't care about the scores, right? But the minute I'm like, oh, this one, he's like, wasn't that in the top 10 in 2000? I felt like it was number 2.
Well, no, I will say that it was always a huge deal when a wine got this rating years and years ago. And then more, recently, I should say within the last 23 years that I've been at WineBid, it was also a big deal when the top 10 wines were announced each week or however often it was. I can't remember, within the last parts, of the year. And then the number 1 wine would be released, and then all of a sudden it would hit the auction, and maybe there would be a bottle actually of that wine already in the auction, at a whatever price, and then it would just skyrocket. I mean,
saw that happen this year with the Brunello, no less.
Right. And then the price comes down, so it's always very kind of interesting to see that happen. So those wines kind of stick out to me. But yeah, there's a bunch of big point Tuscan wines. I did want to point out, I know we're kind of running long here, but I did want to point out there's Soldera in, which we don't see very often. It's incredibly, utterly, extraordinarily expensive, if you have to ask. But there's 1990, 2004, and Magnum of 04 Riserva. And so there's a couple bottles of the 04 and a single mag. Those ones really stick out for me. There's a bunch of Montevertini, which is very hip, in the sommelier sort of younger crowd, but those wines are great. They're traditional. They've been made the same way forever, including Magnum of the 06 Pergola Torte.
I had the 90 Pergola Torte for 500. I thought that was cool.
I didn't even see the 90. I saw more recent vintages there, but that's right. The Torte Riserva 90. Okay. Yeah. Cause that had a Riserva designation, but I don't think they do that every year. So that's another one of those rare birds.
Did you see
the amazing selection too?
Did you see the 06 Valdicava Madonna del Piano Brunello del Montalcino Magnum for $335? I thought that was
I missed that.
That was interesting. We've got this Casanova de Neri Brunello del Montalcino.
I knew you were going to mention yet another top 100 wine, Casanova de Neri there, Jeff.
Yeah, so the mag, one bottle lot, OWC, $500. Also have the 750 for $295. So that this is one of those ones I was talking about where, like, usually if the 750 is $295, then the Magnum should be just under $600.
$600, yeah.
Right? But it's not. The Magnum is $500.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's actually one of those instances where it's pretty good. Well, you mentioned the Soldera. I picked out the 1990 Soldera, right, for $2,400, just a paltry $2,400 for that. 2010 Pian del Orino Brunello Montalcino, Vignetti del Versante, already has a bid on it, 100 taken to 110. Il Pagione Brunello del Montalcino Magnum for 180. That's
a bunch of Pagione, yeah.
A bunch of Pagione. That stuff is so good. Oh, a bunch of Flaccionello de la Paz. There's a
lot of different vintages of both, Flaccionello and the Vino del Sorbo. There's magnums of that. There's even a 3-liter.
The Vino del Sorbo, I really like Fontodi as a producer. I mean,
that's great wine. Same with Felsina. Felsina for me is another awesome wine. There's a bunch of Fontoloro, and then there's the Riserva Ancia Chianti from 10 and 04. Great vintages and magnums. There's 6 bottles of each of the 750. So, good shot at getting things, within a reasonable range here. I mean, again, we've always gotten proven wrong because stuff gets bid up crazily. But for the most part, some of the wines that, let's just say, we see more often, like from Fontodi or from Felsina or from Chiachi Piccolomini, they're not going to go insanely through the roof, I don't think. Whereas, Soldera, there's no guarantee. The Montevertinis, who knows? But lots to choose from this week.
Can I point out one other thing that I thought was cool? 18 Biondi Santi Rosso di Montalcino for $80, and there are 6 of those.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. You don't see the Rosso too often. It is a lot more reasonable than the Brunello, of course. So
yes,
that's cool.
Yes. Just a ton of really cool stuff. Let's jump around Italy, shall we? Basilicata, we got the 2001 Basilico Aglianco del Vulture. Volture. That was interesting. In Campania, we've got a bunch of Campania wines, right? A bunch of different vintages from Gallardi Terra di Lavoro.
Yeah, I love this stuff. So good. And it's reasonable. The 05, I think, got Tre Bicchieri, if scores mean anything to you, and it's $40 for the 05. And that wine's excellent.
Just for those listening, Tre Bicchieri, that's Italian, roughly translated, it means 3 bicchieri. And then we've got this 01. So 01, Mastro Baradino Tarosi Radici Riserva for 40, actually has a bid taking 45 to 46. And 11, Gustafero Taurasi Reserva Premium. Yeah, Primum for 50. I thought that was cool. Sicily, some more Prefilloxera, some 06.
Yeah, another one of those popped in this week. It's just pretty cool.
Delicious stuff.
And there was a bunch of Quintarelli.
Yeah, Giuseppe Quintarelli in some interesting stuff from Umbria, which I thought was cool. So Paolo Bea Montefalco,
there are a few Bea wines in this week too.
Yeah. And then some stuff from Veneto as well, which was kind of cool. Oh, I guess that's all the Quintarelli, right?
There's other Valpolicella, and there's the Tommaso Busla, there's the TV, there's multiple lots of 97 and other vintages. So
Romano del Forno.
There's Del Forno in too. I didn't see that.
There's a ton of Del Forno.
Okay, I missed it.
There's like a ton of that stuff. Like all.
So, okay. Again, goes back to my point. Got to keep checking because I think these wines were added later. So anyway, always new stuff being added.
You want to talk? Let's just really quickly talk Germany before we wrap up here. Tons of J. Broom, tons of H. Dunhoff, Willi Schaefer, and I mean, just lots of cool stuff from the 90s, early 2000s, Auslaces, Baron Auslaces, Spade Laces.
Now, these wines, I'm a suspicion that some of these wines that appear to be deals right now are the ones that are going to get bid up. So, there's JJ Christoffel, there's Urban Erdentreption Riesling Spätlese at Gold Capsule 01 that started, I think, at 55. Those all have bids at 56. So there's action on a lot of these things. And I noticed there's quite a few of the Grosser Ring auction designated bottlings in as well. But I did flag a couple that I thought were super reasonable. 03 Fritz Haag, Braunberger, Juniper Sonner, Riesling Auslese, Gold Capsule for $30. It's a half bottle, but still. There's a lot of things kind of in that 30 to 60, 70 range. Selbach Oster, Zeltinger, Schlossberg, Riesling Auslese for 45 from 03. So, nice batch of things with, 20 years plus that. And there are multiple bottles of some of them, but I think, some of those Prum wines and Willi Schaefer wines will probably get bid up a little bit. So.
Oh, for sure. Lots of really cool stuff. Look, lots of cool stuff in Italy and Germany this week. Check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff in France and the US. So if we don't have a France or US episode this week, go check it out. There's really, really, really cool stuff this week. And I'm going to call it a wrap there. You can get $15 off an order of $150 or more if you use the code WIZARD, WIZARD, because that's Paul. He's the Wizard of Württemberg. That's his nickname. All these wines are in auction. The auction ends Sunday, May 26, 2024 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So you can go bid on all this stuff. So some of it will not get bids. Trust me. And for WineBid's Finally Hammered, this has been Jeff McGurn and Paul Walker wishing you happy bidding and cheers.
Cheers.